Hi guys, Ali Taylor down here at a very wet Heron's Reach today, but today we're going to talk about the ultimate guide to ball position in your golf setup. Right guys, so ball position at setup, I think it can sometimes sound like a very complicated thing, but it can be made very simple, and that's the aim of today's video, is to help you understand how to get that ball position set correctly for the various clubs in your bag. So if you're somebody very new to the game who's never ever been told this could be really key for you, that you learn the simple way of mastering this before you get all that complicated stuff in your head. But equally, if you're somebody who's been playing for a long time, who's maybe got a bit complacent with this or never really understood it, hopefully this is going to give you the tools to get that ball position perfect every single time. Right, so why does ball position need to be perfect? So we need to be able to deliver the club correctly into the golf ball, and whenever the golf ball's on the floor, we would like to see the club moving down and have a descending blow on the golf ball, and maybe slightly de-lofting the clubs when they're on the floor so we can get the sweet spot in contact with the ball. But what we see is with the shorter clubs, we'd like the club moving down more. As the clubs get longer, we'd like the angle of attack, the angle of the clubs moving into the ball to be more shallow, and then with driver ideally, we'd like to see it moving up. Now when you say that though, you think, wow, there's a lot of different things that I need to do in my golf swing. Well, here's the beauty. You don't need to change your swing at all. By understanding where your low point is in your golf swing and how moving your golf ball around that low point will control your angle of attack, we're going to make it dead simple and get you mastering the ball position with every club in the bag. Right, and guys, so one of the things that I think is incredibly difficult for golfers to understand is that feedback they get from, particularly from playing partners, is golfers talk about with some clubs you need to hit down more, some you need to hit down less, some clubs like the driver you even need to hit up. So this is where a video like this becomes so important, that if you understand how to control the low point of your golf swing, and then by having the correct ball position with the particular clubs, we can then change the way that club moves down, level, or up into the golf ball by simply changing your ball position at address. So I've done videos on this before where I talk about the golf swing in its simplest form is that club head moving in a circle around your body. So the best thing is, with the pitching wedge, or any club, at some point the club moves up, it moves back down, it reaches its low point, and then it moves back up. So in this video, I'm going to hit shots with pitching wedge, 7-iron, 4-iron, 3-wood, and driver, and talk you through how getting that ball position correct with each one is going to help you get the correct angle of attack to get the best shots with the particular clubs, and then how, as you go from pitching wedge to 9, 8, 7, what tiny change there is that makes it very easy. So with pitching wedge, as with gap wedge, sand wedge, lob wedge, golfers get told that they really need to feel that they hit down the maximum amount out of all the clubs with these particular ones. So what we look for in your golf swing is that as you set up, your weight's quite 50-50. And as a result of that, the low point of your swing is very much opposite your sternum, so the center of the feet. But when you swing, as you start down, the weight moves forward and it moves your low point in front of the golf ball. So with pitching wedge, and certainly even maybe down to 7-iron to lob wedge, we're looking for the golf ball to be in the middle, and then as we hit our shot, we can see that my low point was 3.3 inches after the golf ball. Therefore, my golf club has been moving down 4 degrees. And I know as a result of that, I get some nice shaft lean, good strike, and really good compression on the golf ball. So that moves us from the pitching wedge to the 7-iron. Now for me, the 7-iron still got plenty of loft on it, so we don't mind seeing the club move down a similar amount, if not exactly the same as pitching wedge. So I would still try and keep the ball very, very central, in line with my sternum, so that when I swing, that low point's still going to be further in front of the golf ball. So let's see, by keeping the ball position the same with 7-iron as it was with wedge, what our angle of attack would be. So we can see not exactly the same there, 3.8 inches after, 4.2 degrees down, so very, very similar. And to be fair with a 7-iron, I'd be very happy getting a consistent impact position that I would see with 7-iron as I would see with 8, 9, pitching wedge and any of my wedges. It's as we start getting longer with the clubs, we would like to see the club moving a little bit more shallow into the golf ball, retaining a bit more of that loft and not de-lofting the club. So now we're going to move from 7-iron up to 4-iron. Right then, so as we move into the 4-iron now, this is a long iron. And maybe some of you guys out there might not have long irons in the bag, but might have hybrids or more lofted fairway woods. This would still be true if you were into a 4 hybrid or a 7 wood. So instead of the ball being in line with the sternum, which would be the middle of the stance, once we get to 7-iron, we're looking about ½ an inch forward of your sternum. So with this one, with 3 clubs less, so maybe 1.5 inches forward of my sternum. So just inside my Adidas logo. And you can see that kind of little bit forward in the stance. If I swing and make a similar movement, my low point should be fairly similar. But because my ball position is a little further forward, the club should now be a little shallower into impact, and that will help me keep that loft and get that distance from the longer iron. That felt great. So I actually got my low point a little further forward than I would like with 4-iron there, but 3.3 inches after, and the club's still moving 3 degrees down at impact. So it's important with these longer clubs that the club still moves down, but less so. And some of you guys out there with the shorter clubs actually might be a little bit more down than I am. I tend to be. My pattern tends to be a little bit shallow through the ball. So you can see though, if you can deliver that longer iron like that, and you've got enough speed in your swing, you can still get good distance from your long irons. Right, so this moves us into fairway wood and 3 wood for me. Now I did a video on this, I think last week on my channel, so if you haven't watched that video, check it out. It's a bit more in detail on that video. But we still want the club moving down through impact with the fairway wood. We don't want to be sweeping it or picking it on the way up, because we're going to struggle with strike. But what we'd like to see is more exaggerated than the 4-iron. So I'm now going to move more opposite my logo on my chest. That ball position therefore is maybe a couple of inches inside my left heel, and then once I've set there, make my normal golf swing. That's about as good as it gets. And we can see there 0.7 inches after for my low point, and now my angle of attack was down, but very, very shallow. So you can see how important, yes, there's a consistency of golf swing, but how important getting the ball position correct so that you can control your angle of attack from just adjusting something at address rather than constantly trying to change your golf swing. So all those shots on the floor, the ball position's gradually moving a little further forward, but never too far forward that the low point becomes behind the golf ball. But that then moves us nicely into the only club in the bag that we'd like to see it behind the ball. So like I said, that moves us into driver. Now it's not essential that you get the club moving up, but if you want to maximize your distance with driver, that is something that you need to look to achieve. So there's a little bit of alteration in setup, but again, it's where that ball position becomes key. So a lot of golfers talk about having the ball a real long way forward opposite that toe. For me, that really depends how wide you stand, because if I stand excessively wide, that ball position is now outside my shoulder, whereas if I stand narrower, left toe is opposite my Adidas logo. So what I like to see is slightly wider than shoulder width, with the ball probably just this side of the logo, maybe opposite kind of my armpit, left armpit for me. And then the little change at address that I would like to see is that you will always have, if I can get this tee to stay in the ground, you will always have an element of spine tilt because your right hand's lower than your left. I'd like to see just a little bit more exaggerated, which in itself might move that low point a little further back as well. So we don't need to move the ball too far forward. So left armpit, a little bit more spine tilt, and off we go. And we can see there that my low point was 4.1 inches behind the golf ball, and therefore the club head has then been moving 3.5 degrees up at impact, which is almost optimal for me to help me hit driver as far as I can. Right guys, so hopefully like you saw there, nice and simple. Yes, the ball position relative to feet, but for me, very relative to your body. So sternum's the middle of your feet if your weight's 50-50, and the furthest forward it should ever be is left armpit. So it's actually quite a small hitting area. So even if you're a little bit out, it shouldn't be catastrophic to your shots. And that's what we want. We want your good ones to be great, but your bad ones to be still very, very playable. And if you can work through this and get very comfortable in doing it quickly, get that ball position right, control your angle of attack, and hit real quality golf shots with every club in the bag. So guys, hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, like and share it, comment below and I'll get back to as many people as I can. If you enjoyed today's video and you don't currently subscribe, please consider clicking the button below, ring the notification bell, then you find out whenever I drop a new video. Follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Ali Taylor Golf. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here soon. Stay in contact.